Okay, let's just dive right into this incredible cinematic journey through Xinjiang. Welcome to this explainer where we're going to unpack the vibrant culture, the absolutely extreme landscapes, and the deep, deep history of what is easily one of the most fascinating regions on Earth. We're starting our trip in the modern gateway of Ürümqi. That's the capital of China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, and we are traveling all the way back in time along the ancient Silk Road. So get ready to have your senses completely overwhelmed and your historical horizons totally expanded.
Now, check out this number, 2,500. You might be wondering, what does that actually mean? Well, 2,500 kilometers is the distance from Ürümqi to the very nearest ocean coastline. No way, right? That staggering distance actually makes it the most inland major city on the entire planet. It is literally the urban heart of Asia. And because of this, it's been a massive stop on the ancient Silk Road, basically facilitating trade between China, Central Asia, and the West for centuries. Because of this totally unique geographic isolation, Ürümqi has morphed into the spectacular melting pot of cultures that, honestly, you just won't find anywhere else.
So part one, the urban heart of Asia. Before we even get to the amazing food and the history, we really need to understand the spirit of the people who live here. Just take a look at the history of the Yamalaika Mountain Forest Park. Back in 1957, this mountain was completely bare. I mean, zero water source, terrible soil, just a rock. But over the next few decades, the locals literally formed human assembly lines. We're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of people, passing buckets of water, bags of soil, and little tree saplings hand by hand all the way up those steep slopes. It's like a giant puzzle they solved together, brilliantly illustrating the sheer willpower of the local people, transforming a completely barren, bone-dry mountain into the lush, beautiful green park you see today. Moving right along to Section 2, Flavors of Hetine Air Streak. If you're a foodie, oh man, this walking street is going to overwhelm your senses in the absolute best way possible. Right off the bat, you're hit with this rich, thick, smoky aroma of cumin and lamb just completely filling the air. It's this incredibly bustling pedestrian zone where Ürümqi's diverse ethnic minorities all come together. And you can really see that Central Asian influence reflected in absolutely every single food stall you walk past. Vloggers exploring this exact street recently discovered what is literally a feast of Central Asian flavors. Honestly, just listening to these descriptions, you can practically taste it. We're talking about massive, bottomless plates of freshly made lamb plov. People just line up for endless refills. Then there's the mouth-watering baked bread, known locally as samsa, which they grab right out of these scalding hot ovens. The dough is incredibly thin and just packed with savory beef and lamb. You've got fresh local figs smashed right in front of you to release all that subtle sweetness. And get this, massive whole sunflowers where you just pick the seeds straight out of the actual flower. Plus, you'll see familiar sights like freshly squeezed pomegranate juice that beautifully echoes the food cultures of nearby Almaty in Kazakhstan. So, the really crucial takeaway here is that the ingredients are incredibly dense and rich. The vloggers tried this local walnut cake that cost less than $2, and they basically called it the ultimate power bar. It's so packed with local walnuts and raisins that, honestly, there is more nut than cake in this thing. It absolutely puts our modern, expensive packaged energy bars to shame. Okay, Section 3, the Grand Bazaar. Walking through this massive, highly secured marketplace, you immediately feel like you've been transported to another world. It's an official 4A scenic spot in China, sure, but aesthetically, it feels like you've stepped right into a Middle Eastern fairy tale. You'll hear this amazing symphony of different languages, Uyghur, Mandarin, and a bunch of others, just echoing off these gorgeous brick domes. The stalls are packed to the absolute brim with stunningly colorful rugs, intricate tea sets, dried fruits, textiles, the whole shebang. It's a little chaotic, definitely heavily geared toward tourism, but absolutely vital for understanding Ürümqi's historic role as a major trading hub. Now, to truly understand Xinjiang, you really have to wrap your head around its wild geographical extremes. On one side, right near Ürümqi, you have the Tian Shan Mountains. We're talking freezing, snowy peaks and lush alpine forests sitting nearly 2,000 meters up in the air. But then, literally just a 3-hour drive away, is the Tarim Basin. This is a blistering, scorching desert that plunges to 154 meters below sea level. That makes it the second lowest depression in the entire world. It's quite literally the land of fire and ice. Which brings us to Section 4, Heavenly Lake of Tian Shan. Just outside Ürümqi sits Tianqi, or Heavenly Lake. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and I mean, just looking at it, it's pretty easy to see why. This crystal-clear alpine lake perfectly reflects the towering, snow-capped Bogda Mountain right behind it. The view is so breathtaking that it literally became the stuff of ancient Chinese mythology. Legend actually has it that the Queen Mother of the West hosted a grand banquet for the 8 immortals right on these very shores. But, getting there independently is a bit of an adventure, especially if you're an international traveler. Vloggers documented their journey, starting at a surprisingly empty passenger transport hub in Ürümqi. Because they held foreign passports, they actually had to visit a police station at the base of the mountain to get this special barcode clearance just to buy their tickets. After paying for the entrance and a shuttle bus pass, they decided to skip the crowded electric carts and hiked up this really quiet, steep path right through the snow. And how did they keep warm? Well, they snacked on a highly unusual, kind of rubbery-tasting local hot dog. But hey, despite all those logistical hoops, leaving the big tour groups behind for that quiet walk in the crisp, snowy alpine air, absolutely worth it for sure.
Let's head back down into the heat for Section 5, Ancient Ruins of Turpan.
Driving just a few hours away from all that snow, you arrive in the Turpan Depression, famously known as the Fireland. And this is where you'll find the Flaming Mountains. We're talking 100 kilometers of incredibly hot, eroded red sandstone hills that literally look like they're glowing, like they're actually on fire under the desert sun. They are so visually striking and honestly so oppressively hot that they became a central mythical obstacle in the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West. In the story, the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, actually had to use a magical fan to extinguish the mountain's flames just to pass safely. Nestled right in the middle of this extreme environment is some truly profound history. Think about this. Established roughly 2,000 years ago, the Zhaohe ancient city started as the capital of the ancient Jushi kingdom. By 60 BC, the Han dynasty had folded it into their protectorate. It then hit its absolute peak during the Tang dynasty as this massively thriving international Silk Road trade hub. Sadly, it was ultimately abandoned and left to ruin in the 14th century due to warfare, but looking back, the timeline is just staggering. So what's the really crucial point about Zhaohe? It's the architectural genius. I mean, look at how this place was constructed. Unlike almost every other ancient city that builds walls up from the ground, the people of Zhaohe carved their city downward into an existing low plateau situated right between 2 deep river valleys. By literally digging down into the earth, they created a nearly impenetrable natural fortress. Walking through the ruins today, sweating under that blazing sun, you can still easily trace the outlines of government offices, Buddhist stupas, and everyday residential homes. It is wild. Finally, Section 6, Legacy of the Silk Road. Okay, we have to talk about this absolute engineering marvel, the Corrèze irrigation system. People often call it the underground Great Wall. Get this, with only 16 millimeters of rain a year, the ancients somehow figured out how to collect glacial melt from the distant mountains. Without any modern tools, working in complete darkness, they dug over 5,000 kilometers of underground tunnels that kept the water hidden from the blazing sun, totally prevented evaporation, and successfully transformed the barren Turpan Desert into a lush oasis that is still famous today for its sweet grapes. Honestly, without this 2,000-year-old system, civilization out here simply would not exist. And that life-giving water supported some incredible cultural and religious sites that are still standing today. Over in Turpan, you can explore the Tuyak Valley, which is home to these amazing 1,700-year-old mud dwellings that just blend beautifully straight into the Red Mountains. Then there's the Imin Minaret, a stunning 44-meter-tall Islamic tower built back in 1778, featuring 15 different, highly intricate brick patterns. And high up on the cliffs of the Flaming Mountains, you've got the Bezeklik Thousand Buddha Caves, featuring these exquisite 11th century murals that seamlessly blend Chinese, Indian, Persian, and Central Asian artistic styles all together. If we wrap up and head back to Ürümqi, all of this staggering history really culminates at the Xinjiang Regional Museum. This is where the story of the Silk Road comes together like a giant puzzle. The museum houses everything from diverse traditional costumes to the legendary Lulan Beauty, which is this remarkably preserved 3,800-year-old desert mummy. You can also see the Tang Dynasty silk painting of human ancestors, Fuxi and Nuwa, and the totally priceless Han Dynasty 5 Stars brocade armband. It is just an absolute treasure trove that ties together thousands of years of human exchange and survival. We've traversed from the sheer sensory overload of Ürümqi's street food and grand bazaars, way up into the freezing heights of Heavenly Lake, and then deep down into the fiery ancient genius of the Turpan Basin. With such a rich, multi-layered tapestry of cultures, flavors, and epic history just waiting to be explored, the only question left for you is, where will your Silk Road journey begin? Thanks for joining me on this explainer today, and I really hope it sparked your curiosity to go out and learn even more about this incredible region.